Hello, my name is Devenny Widmer, and I did my final project on the canyon ruby spot, Heterena vulnerata. To start off, we will go over some background information. Canyon ruby spots live in isolated populations called sky islands. They are isolated due to the mountainous region canyon ruby spots reside in. Canyon ruby spots specifically inhabit shaded freshwater streams in these relatively high altitude areas. They need freshwater streams as they start off life as nymphs, which are aquatic. Male canyon ruby spots have a deep red pigment on the base of their wings, as seen here in this picture, making them an easily identifiable species. Due to being an easily identifiable species, canyon ruby spots have a large number of observations on iNaturalist. I focused on the observations in 4 states: Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. From these 4 states, there are 567 occurrence points from 2012 to 2025. Here on the left are the occurrence points on a map. I used cropland data from the 4 states observations occurred in. Here in the middle is the cropland data reclassified into a binary, with habitat in green and non-habitat in white. I then created a 1,000-meter buffer around each point, as it has been determined by Biddy et al. That male canyon ruby spots can disperse up to 1 kilometer, or 1,000 meters. These buffers are shown above. After dissolving buffers that were overlapping, I had 22 independent buffers. From these 122 buffers, I chose 5 independent buffers to analyze at random. I calculated 4 metrics using the software Landscape Metrics. I used the 8-cell rule as canyon ruby spots are a mobile and aerial species. For composition of the buffers, I looked at patch area, a patch level analysis, and percent cover, a class level analysis. For configuration, I looked at clumping, which is also a class level analysis. Finally, for connectivity, I looked at the contagion, which is a landscape level analysis. This is the landscape metrics for each land cover type by buffer, with buffer 12 and 47 having the fewest land cover types with 4, and buffer 81 having the most land cover types with 17. Buffer 12 was also the most connected landscape at roughly 76% connected. Buffers 12 and 47 were good replicates of each other, versus buffers 63, 81, and 82, which were good replicates of each other. This separation could be due to where the buffers landed on the cropland data layer, as buffers 12 and 47 were in more forested areas, not near urbanization, versus buffers 63, 81, and 82 were on the edge of urban areas, which could have thrown off which land cover types were included. Overall, in the 4 focal states, there were 91 land cover types present. 68% of the land was shrubland, 14% was evergreen forests, 8% were grassland/pasture, and all other were less than 3%. Compared to the 5 buffers I looked at, I had 20 land cover types present. 56% of the land was evergreen forest, 23% was shrubland, 9% woody wetlands, and 6% winter wheat. All other land cover types were less than 1%. The land cover type with the most area in total between the 5 buffers was the evergreen forest, with the land cover types with the least area between the 5 buffers being deciduous forests, barley, grapes, potatoes, and cotton. The land cover type with the most area averaged between all the buffers was evergreen forest, and the land cover types with the least area averaged between all the buffers was deciduous forests, barley, pecans, herbaceous wetlands, potatoes, and cotton. Evergreen forest also had the most percent cover in the buffers compared to the lowest percent cover, which was barley. There were 6 land cover types that were too small to be clumped, while deciduous forests, pecans, and herbaceous wetlands were perfectly clumped. Overall, the landscape was relatively well connected at 64%. We will now interpret the results we went through on the previous slide. Relative to the 4 focal states chosen, the 5 buffers overrepresented evergreen forests, woody wetlands, and winter wheat, while underrepresenting shrubland. The canyon ruby spot occurred in 2 out of the 3 most common landscape types relative to the 4 focal states, the one they did not occur in being grasslands and pasture, which makes sense as this is not in the canyon ruby spot's habitat needs. Along with this, the canyon ruby spot occurred in large patches of evergreen forests. This makes sense as evergreen forests had the highest cover percentage and the largest average land area. Along with this, canyon ruby spots naturally occur near shaded streams. 15 out of 21 land cover types were somewhat clumped together, creating a somewhat homogeneous landscape, with 6 that were too small to be clumped. In terms of connectivity, the landscape was connected, roughly 64% connected. The canyon ruby spot occurrence points were mainly in shrubland or forest with some sort of herbaceous wetland or woody wetland present. This is due to the canyon ruby spot reproducing in water and needing water and shaded area as habitat needs. Canyon ruby spot occurrences were mainly associated with large patches of evergreen forest and shrubland with some type of wetland, all of which were expected due to prior research showing that canyon ruby spots live near shaded streams. What was not expected was the large amounts of winter wheat occurrences. This could be due to the agriculture of the area. Finally, we saw 3 out of 5 occurrences occur near human development, which could be due to convenient sampling rather than true habitat selection. Overall, canyon ruby spots seem to be selecting for expected land cover types such as evergreen forests, shrublands, and wetlands.